My name is Moe Keast and I'm a singer and a storyteller, and I'm come today mainly to give you a taste of the Cornish dialect. I got into spoken word a few years ago when a wonderful gentleman called Donald Rowe introduced me to the writings of a wonderful descriptive writer of Cornish life of the not too distant past, a lovely lady called Treneer. And I'm going to start off with a bit of Treneer. We spoke broad Cornish in the playground, not the Cornish language, but the Cornish dialect. I still can with anyone, and the only way to acquire it perfectly is in childhood. So far as I know, the children in Cornwall seem to be keeping it going, despite the attacks of the pedantic and the zeal of the standardisers and the anxiety of the O2 class conscious. I was with a friend in Cornwall the other week whose boy went to the village school, and as we were passing the playground, she said to this other boy that was sat on the wall, "Here, Denzel, will he tell Martin his mother wants him?" And the shout echoed across the playground, "Here, Curly, your mother's all in." I think you can just see those two boys sat on the wall, and I think that's a lovely introduction to the Cornish dialect. I'm going to do one of the oldest pieces of Cornish dialect I know. It's called Adam's Fall, you've got to remember that. And Ralph Dunstan published it in his folk dialect and Cornish folk songs. But I got it off a lovely lady called Mrs. Foxworthy. She was quite, stern to look at. She had her hair scraped back in a bun. All the older generation called her Foxy, but she was Mrs. Foxworthy to us because we were the younger generation. And as a singer, you like to have a tune that shows off the voice, but this doesn't show off the voice at all. Oh, come and I'll tell you a tale of the days of old, about Adam Treacy and his wife, that lived up to Bissa, I'm told. Now Adam was fond of his drop, a boozer was nothing to eat, when he ought to be down at the ball, he'd rather be out on a spree. Now one Saturday night, as I've heard, he went to the Kiddlywink, and what with the beer and the eat, he soon was too droozled to think. Going home along shore he got, 'twas raining and blowing bread hard, and he creedled along like a thing, till at last he fell down in a it, and hit his old head with a ding. Now Jenny was home, waiting for him, and cleaning up all the clome. But soon she got tired of that, and she set out to bring him home. And as she went traipsing along, she thought she heard him screech. "Where are ye, old man?" said she. "You seem in a pretty old smeech." "Oh, Jenny, I'm dead," says he. "Me mouth speech is all gone." "Thou art a liar, I'm sure," said she. "You silly old drusen old soul." She got home safe at last, and got home safe in bed, and gave him a basin of broth, and plastered his broken head. Next morning she happened to geek out under the window blind, and there was the parson outside, all dressed up brave and fine. Oh, get in the spence, said she. Oh, get in and eat away. For if the parson should see like this, whatever would I say? The parson he began some scripture to recall. He says, good woman, I suppose you've heard of Adam's fall. Oh, you just think I had, said she, and then for Adam did call. Come out from in under the spence, for the parson do know it all. I think that's quite a witty little bit of... Right. I don't write a lot, but it's usually when I get a bit angry about stuff that's happening, and 2 or 3 things started this off. A very good friend of mine, his mother was stuck in Trellis for 8 months, or they put a care package together for her. And it's called Tain't Old Poldark and Pasties. It ain't all Poldark and Pasties down home. The clay and the tin's gone scat. The clay tipped is matted with fuzz bushes, and the engine house is broke and silent. There bain't no proper man's work, so the women go out to work instead. They do work in hotels, restaurants and care homes, tending for a parcel of visitors, and people have come down to retire down here. Oh, it ain't all Poldark and Pasties down home. When I was a little chiel over Eglisale, old Dr. Gunn would come a-calling with a pocket full of clidgies if you were fitty, and evil tending medicine if you were brave and wish. Tain't like Doc Martin these days. You'd a phone up if you get took bad, and some woman acting up will say, Doctor will see you in 4 weeks, if you're lucky. Or you call back to see how wish you bit to be. Oh, it tain't all Poldark and Pasties down home. Gramford bought his cottage over Wed Bridge. £150 it cost. Gran took the money over to the bank in an egg basket. They're building everywhere now, down along the river, where the old boatyards used to be. There's some £600,000 ago, all destined to be holiday homes or retirement homes. Oh, it ain't all Poldark and Pasties down home. When I was a little tacker over Eglisale, Gran would send me to the village shop for some cakey trade for tea. People talked to one another at the village shop, post office. It's all gone now to be replaced by supermarkets in towns miles away. This would be all well and good if there was a bus service to speak of. You're lucky if there's one a week. Oh, it ain't all Poldark and Pasties down home. Things are going to blazes. People run ragged trying to catch up. Everything's fit to busting with wind turbines and they solar farms. So dunny spoil what we'd have loved so brave. As the sign said when I passed the Eden project the other day, Eden full. Well, I'll tell you a story now. I do have a cousin, Jenny. She was born in Port Isaac, but she lives over in Florida now. She lives in a place called Boynton Beach. And this is a little story about my cousin Jenny. Now, my cousin Jenny, she was a wild child of the 60s. She was into that disco dancing and the bright lights, and probably drinking a lot, and probably the wacky backy. And soon life in her little Cornish town became too boring. So she ended up in a hippie commune up at Camden Lock. And she made her living by sewing those caftans that we used to wear back in the 60s. And those patchwork trousers, you know. And she's on deck one day sewing away, and there's a plop, and her thimble lands in the river. And Jenny's so upset. She said, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't sew without me thimble." And there's this great, the clouds part, and this great voice sounds, "Don't worry, Jenny, I'll sort it. It's the Lord up there." And this great hand comes down, and he dips into the River Thames and comes up with a thimble. And it's gold, and it's got rubies and diamonds and pearls. And Jenny looks at it and she says, "Lord, that's not my thimble. I'm sorry, Lord. I must be honest, it's not my thimble." So the Lord puts it on the lock gate. And he dips his hand back down. And he comes up with another thimble. And it's silver with moonstones and turquoise. And Jenny thinks, no, Lord, I've got to be honest. I'm a good Cornish, honest girl. That's not my thimble. So the Lord dips his hand down back into the River Thames, and he comes up with a beat-up brass thimble. And Jenny's overjoyed. It's her thimble. She's overjoyed. And the Lord says, "Because you've been such a good girl, you can keep all three." And Jenny's father, he was clever. He sold the gold thimble, and he sold the silver one, and she ended up with this great big house right on the banks of the River Thames. And one day, her husband Ern, he's out mowing the lawn, and he's up and down on the ride-on mower. And suddenly there's this great splash, and the mower and Ern is falling in the river. And Jenny goes, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? My husband Ern's falling in the river." And the clouds part, and the voice comes again, "Jenny, don't worry, I'll sort it out." And the hand comes down and comes up with Aidan Turner, you know, Ross Poldark. And Jenny goes, "Oh, yeah, that's my husband." And the Lord said, "Jenny, you're lying, you naughty girl. That's Aidan Turner." And Jenny said, "Well, Lord, give me a break, because you would have put your hand down again and you would have pulled up George Clooney. And then you would have put your hand down again and you would have pulled up my dear husband Ern. And I ain't as young as I was, and I don't think I could manage all three." I felt moved to write again. I feel a bit embarrassed doing my stuff in front of real writers like Paul and Bert, but I felt moved to do this because, well, an incident happened yesterday, actually. I was going down to Rishburn Bridge, and this car came up, a dirty great Mercedes, and he had a foot inside, and he was looking at my car as if to say, pull over, pull over. And I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to see him go through Rishburn Bridge, because you only got about that either side, you know. But I felt moved to write this about things like that. 'Tis that time of the year again. You'll go down the bakery, and they're baking so many pasties, they ain't got time to season them proper. And everywhere, visitors, pasties in hand. They to make all these newfangled flavours, like steak and Stilton, pork and apple. What's the other one? Chicken balti. We'll be having haggis flavour next. I checked all the flavours, by the way. We don't bother with them till the winter. They're a bit sam-sazzled. That means they ain't cooked proper. 'Tis that time of the year again. You'll be down the supermarket, and the place is full of visitors going up and down along the aisles with girt trolleys full with enough food to last them to the Day of Judgment. And they're only here for 2 weeks. And there you are, going like a skeiner, stuck behind them at the checkout with your bread and milk, with no chance to get by. 'Tis that time of the year again. You'll be down the town, and somebody'll say, "Can you direct me to Fowey?" Yes, I'd say. "Oh, you mean Foy?" I shouldn't start from here. I should go back to Bascoppa. They'd have some trouble with our place names, like Delabally, Delabo, Tinticle, Tintagel, Launceston, Lalson. Never to mind purring a wordle. 'Tis that time of the year again. The old A30's coo back nearly to Devon, with cars nose to tail. They'd to come down in girt cars, towing caravans and camper vans. And then 'tis all our little Cornish lanes with girt high edges. They don't know the width of their car. One day I was coming out our lane when this girt car turned in, towing a caravan. I said to myself, "You'll be lucky if you'd have gotten through there, my lover, the way you'd have drive." 'Tis that time of the year again. August is over, and the kids have all gone up back to school. The pasties be bread and proper again, and you can get up and down along the supermarket aisles. And the old A30 is not cooed back to Devon anymore with caravans and camper vans. The only thing is, it'll be all the same next year. I got a couple more things, but I can always tell you a story if I need to after that. I go, now and again, a very good friend of mine called Sid Corderbank decided that he would get everybody that spoke dialect together and he's an expert in the Lancashire dialect, and he thought he'd get everybody together so we could enjoy each other's dialect and put a value on it, really. And we had a debate one year and about kind of like people, because you've got a strong accent, they think you're a crimping short of a pasty. They don't think you're so bright, you know? How they perceive you. I know the people up in Geordieland, up in Tyneside, they think that people think they have to be funny all the time, and you're not. So this is a bit of country philosophy, and it's called Tincomb Lane, and this, I think, is very, very clever. For Tincomb Lane is all uphill, or downhill as you take 'em. You stumble up and crack your crown, or stumble down and break 'em. For Tincomb Lane is crooked or straight. There's a pocket, there's an arrow. 'Tis smooth to foot, 'tis full of rut, 'tis broad and yet 'tis narrow. For Tincomb Lane is a lot like life. For when you leave your mother, 'tis sometimes this and sometimes that. 'Tis one thing or the other. And I think that tells you a lot of how you go through life. Sometimes you have a rough time, sometimes it's fine. Well, I'm going to finish off with the song I did up at the National Dialect Day. It was written by Malcolm Pinch, and it comes from the Clay area. And I like doing it up country because I think it's rude. It's called Grandfather's Gone Up Bottoms. That means grandfather has gone to the clay pit to pump it out. Father's on the incline waiting for a skip, but the winder's got a problem and she stays down the pit. Brother's in the Mikey, shovel in his hand. Me, I'm in a linny, cleaning out a pan. This is the chorus. And Grandfer's gone up bottoms, Grandfer's gone up bottoms, Grandfer's gone up bottoms to pump out. The shift captain checks his watch 'cause he's on the prowl. If he catch you doing nothing, he's sure to give you hell. The stent gang are busy shoveling sand and clay. Grandfer's got a shovel, but he don't lend a hand. And Grandfer's gone up bottoms, you can join in. Grandfer's gone up bottoms, Grandfer's gone up bottoms to pump out. The cattle boy is asleep, he's not doing what he should. The cribber fire has gone out, and the pasties will be cold. The hose man is bored, washing sand, not clay. He turns it on the dozer to keep the boy awake. And Grandfer's gone up bottoms, Grandfer's gone up bottoms, Grandfer's gone up bottoms to pump out. Ooh. The engine house is silent, the pits are flooded now. They say they don't make money, but there's clay in the ground. But when I close my eyes on a dark winter's night, I can see those boiler fires in the dawn light. And Grandfer's gone up bottoms, Grandfer's gone up bottoms, Grandfer's gone up bottoms to pump out. Grandfer's gone up bottoms, grandpa's gone up bottoms, grandpa's gone up bottoms to pump out. Thank you. Pasties ready?
Yeah, pasties are ready. I think Moe deserves a second good round of applause, actually.
You're welcome.